The last couple of weeks I was in Tehran, and then I went to Dubai and Abu Dhabi to join my fiancé for his visa interview to come to the US. It went very well. It went a lot better than what we expected, because we were expecting the worst from the stories that you hear on the media and so forth. They didn't have many questions for us. They believed our story and realized that the relationship was legit, but they also told us that everything would have been wonderful and we would have been approved right away, except for the travel ban that Donald Trump put in place. So because of that, there's a lot of extra vetting that's going to be involved, and a lot more waiting. And even though they give people a time frame of 3 to 6 months, it's really unclear, because when I try to contact them, they don't have any details, and it's just months of administrative processing, waiting and waiting. What I'm trying to do is basically bring my fiancé here to the country so that we can begin our lives together. So me and my fiancé, we got engaged a couple months after the travel ban, and if we had applied just a few months earlier, he would be here right now. Because we waited just a little bit, there's no end in sight at all right now. We don't know, we have no idea when this process will be over. It's really rough because you're trying to make plans for your future. You're trying to figure out what to do with your home, your work, your living situation with my daughter. It really disrupts your daily life because, I'm at the point where I'm a little bit older, and I'm just trying to proceed with my life like everybody else. So I met my fiancé through my aunt. She's known him for several years. She's been in contact with him as a customer. He's got his own business. He's got an accessories, cosmetics store, sells hair color, and she has been there and known him for a number of years, and she said, wow, he's got such a good energy, he's a really good person. They started actually talking throughout these interactions that they had and kind of got to know each other, and he was telling her that, it's really hard to meet somebody in Iran because of the current situation, and the dating scene is different. Well, initially, she just kind of showed me pictures, and then we started talking through the Telegram app, and I said, that's great, but I really didn't think anything of it at first, because I was like, okay, he's cute, but so what? There's a lot of cute people in Los Angeles, and what else is there beyond that that's going to keep you there? So I kind of honestly didn't think too much of it when she initially told me about it. And then once we started talking, I was like, okay, he's got something there. So we're clicking, we're connecting, and given the fact that I grew up here and he grew up there, and that our two cultures are so different, I was surprised how many things we actually matched on and how easy it was to talk to him. And one thing led to another. We just started talking for months, and it was like on the daily that we were talking. And I said, okay, maybe this is something worth looking into. Obviously, in the past, I didn't make the best choices. So maybe somebody that knows me better than I know myself might be able to pick somebody good for me. I was born in Iran, in Isfahan, and we left there when I was about 14 months. And we ended up leaving there because there was a giant war. There was the Iran-Iraq war, which went on for many years. But in 1979 was when there was the Islamic Revolution in Iran. That's when everything changed.
joined the military. This is 1968, and became a helicopter pilot. I was in military until revolution happened, and then got out of the military, joined the civilian operation. You try to cope with a new situation, and you realize you cannot, it's very hard. And then you realize you cannot tolerate anymore. And it's hard to breathe in this kind of environment. And then you try to see what's my option. In my case, the option was leave the country, like a lot of other people did. The part is how you're planning to do this. That part is difficult. And step into the new situation, which you don't know anything about it.
Since my dad worked for a company and he had access to a helicopter, it was a decision that was really dangerous, but it wasn't something that you put a lot of thought into. It was like a last-minute decision. He just decided one night, it's getting too dangerous. Look, like there's a lot of political unrest in the communities. There's bombs dropping all around us. My brother used to see them out the window, and he would see them like dropping bombs, and they had blackouts and curfews and stuff, so it was very dangerous. And he just decided one night that we were leaving, and without selling our house or car or anything, we just took 2 suitcases and made arrangements with some of his other army buddies, and we met up with them, and he flew us out of the country. But it was very dangerous, because if he would have gotten caught, they probably would have detained him and killed him, gave him the death penalty, put my mother in jail, put me and my brother up for adoption. So it was really life-changing decision, and it was something that it was done on a whim. It was just done very quickly, because you don't have time when bombs are falling all around you. You do whatever you can to save your family.
Immigration is not easy. It is forced upon people in many different ways. There is not simple situation yet that you can describe, say, because of this, I immigrated.
We landed in Bahrain, and then they confiscated the helicopter and gave us about $2,000, I think, cash at that time. And they gave us 4 plane tickets to France. So we were in Paris for about 3 to 6 months, and we got visas and came to Maryland, DC. So it was actually Silver Spring, Maryland, as refugees. I'm a registered nurse. I work in the emergency room for the last 8 years. Nursing chose me, and I chose nursing because when I was younger, I had a near life or death experience. My temperature went up really high, and I had an incident where I was just like losing consciousness and almost passed away. It was the quick thinking of the nurses and the staff that brought me back. I feel like I'm still here for a reason. I was close to seeing the light. They helped bring me back, and I felt like if it wasn't for them, that I might not have had the opportunity. And I feel like there's a reason why I'm still here. There's something yet that needs to be done, and I feel like part of it was giving back the same way that they helped me. Yeah, I never knew anything different growing up. As a kid, I was always an American, I guess. There was a little bit of struggle when I was growing up, because coming from the 2 cultures, you kind of have to try to blend a little bit of the old culture with the new culture, leaving behind the stuff that's not meant for you. Aside from the day-to-day activities, which is the same for everybody, I do feel like it was a little bit of a challenge to try to blend the 2 cultures, especially because I come from a place in Iran where it's not a culture that's as welcomed here in the US as maybe some other cultures. So the ties, the relations with the US and Iran kind of made it a little bit more of a struggle as well, I feel. I do come from a family of 4. My father was a pilot, my mother's a cosmetologist, and my brother's a physical therapist. He's got 2 kids of his own. They're all in Cleveland, so they're all pretty far away from me, living out here alone in California. So that's a bit of a struggle, me and my daughter. Though they're far away, we're still really tight. We're still very close. Every time we get together, it's kind of like we pick up right where we left off. It never really changes. And they've been my support everywhere I've gone. You know, they let me basically live my dream, and they've always been there for me anytime I fall down. My dad's like my hero. He's my support system.
Hey, Tara. Hello. Hello!
I have a daughter. She's almost 3 years old. She's 2 and 8 months. And I basically take care of her. I have almost full-time custody of her, as well as working. She's just the light of my life. I mean, she's just a happy kid, just like any other kid. What can I say? She's always smiling. Luckily, she's been very easy to take care of since she was born.
Okay, let's go, Baba. Let's go.
Okay, one more time. Let's see.
What's your Papa? Did Papa want ice cream?
Ice cream.
Want ice cream? Okay, let's go get ice cream. Let's go.
Chaos and confusion is still going at this hour. The president is making good on a campaign promise with this one. He says this is not a Muslim ban, but so many of those protesters all around the country see it very differently. Overnight outrage from coast to coast. In Boston, thousands packing the streets. Officers in riot gear in Portland. In Seattle, police pepper spraying an angry crowd. From the shadow of the Statue of Liberty to the gates of the White House, a weekend of protests over President Trump's immigration crackdown.
Nobody really knew what was going on. My friends were calling me, hey look, we're gonna go to the airport and just rally over there.
I remember that there was a lot of lawyers at the time that were working like pro bono, and they were going down there and trying to offer assistance for free to the immigrants and refugees and people that were coming in.
We saw thousands of people at the airports, and to me that was very heartening. They all came out in force at the various airports and rallied together, letting this administration know that if you target any community, it's as if you are targeting all of our communities.
The Trump administration's travel ban do-over.
To our allies and partners around the world, please understand this order is part of our ongoing efforts to eliminate vulnerabilities that radical Islamist terrorists can and will exploit for destructive ends.
Regardless of whether they're Muslim or not, it puts a ban on people from certain countries, non-selectively, just everybody from that country. that makes you kind of question the policies that are in place.
We say no to the wall, no to the Muslim ban, no to the targeting of immigrants, no to anti-black racism, no to the targeting of any community. The list goes on and on. What's important, we're all together united.
No fear, refugees are welcome.
The countries that were named in the Muslim ban, the original version, included only Muslim countries. And then what we saw was the Trump administration wanted to, circumnavigate the judicial process and circumnavigate the Constitution. So they threw in countries that are not predominantly Muslim majority countries.
I feel like unless you speak out, that change never occurs. Sometimes you need to be the first person to take action and let them know that, we need to do something to counteract these wrong policies. I did end up contacting both of the senators in California, and I wrote them letters. I wrote to the Supreme Court justices. So I did take some additional steps to try to get my petition rolling and to get the word out about this cause. For a while, I was like, this is such a crazy law that there's no way that it's going to affect us, really. I thought, there's no way it's going to actually go through. I thought if it reaches the Supreme Court, in the lower level courts, they were actually against it. So once it reached the Supreme Court, I thought, this law is so crazy. It's so obvious that it's racist. It's absurd that this would pass.
By a 5-4 vote, the justices decided the president has the right to limit entry to the U.S. from those countries, overturning a lower court ruling against the ban.
The decision is a huge win for the administration, ending 16 months of legal battles over a key part of Trump's immigration policy, which he campaigned on.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
What can I say? I was just really shocked at the outcome of it, because what seems to me like something that's so clearly wrong and something that's so obviously biased, I thought for sure that this is something that wasn't going to be upheld. So when the Supreme Court decided to uphold the third ban, even though it was so similar to the first and second ban, it really rocked my world. I was like, okay, not that you would feel hopeless, but it does diminish that fighting a little bit, makes it harder. No case status updates on the website that we check, and when we call or email them, all they say is just keep checking the website for any types of updates, and there's just no movement at all on the case since then. So 7 months in administrative processing, and we're just stuck there. We have talked about everything from waiting it out, him staying there and I'm staying here. Since it's already been 7 months, we're hoping that maybe if it takes a year, we could wait another 5 months, give or take, and see if that works. The other option was for me to move there, us to move to another country together, or just to kind of realize that one of the possibilities might be that we would have to break up. We talked about that too. We've kind of ruled that out. We're still good. We're a lot better now. It's hard with the long distance communication, but we've decided that we do want to stay together. That's not an option really. We're willing to wait it out, or maybe do an extreme move, have to quit my job and sell my house and move out there or something like that. but we are considering different options now.
All of this just to get married?
Yeah. It's just crazy that we have to go through all of these hurdles just to get married.